1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it was a fine and a pleasant day. At Yarmouth Harbor I was faring as a cabin boy on a sailing lugger for to hunt the bony shoals of herring. Now you're up on deck, you're a fisherman. You can swear to show your manly bearing. Take your turn and watch with the other fella as you hunt the bony shoals of herring. Well, I earned my keep and I paid my way, and I earned the gear that I was wearing. Sailed 1,000,000 miles and caught 1,000,000 fishes. We were dreaming of the shoals of herring. Night and day the seas were daring. Come wind or come or winter again, sweating or cold, growing up, growing old, or dying, as we dreamed about the shoal of herring. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Swift Guitar Lessons. Today we're going to continue our study of the Inside Llewyn Davis soundtrack. In this lesson, we're covering Shoals of Herring, as done by Oscar Isaac. Let's get started. Okay, so we have a close look at the left hand and also my right hand. And I'm going to start off by breaking down the intro and the verses for you. In doing so, I'm going to try my best to keep my hand position the same as Oscar Isaac's, and which will be a departure from my usual classical style picking. Okay, so we're going to start off with the intro. It's going to sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. And once very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that started off on my A major chord, and I'm playing it in a bar position, barring the D string, G string, and B string on the 2nd fret. And my high E string should be muted there. I'm arpeggiating the chord, my thumb playing the A string, then the D string, my index playing the G, and my middle finger plucking the B string. Next, I'm going to play the same thing, but I'm going to start with my low E string with the thumb, jump the A string, go right to the D, and then play the same exact pattern. D, G, B. A, D, G, B, E, D, G, B. Next, we're going to a D major chord. A strum down with the thumb is nice, before playing the 2nd fret of the B string. Next we go to an E major chord, or E dominant 7, just by adding our pinky there to the 3rd fret of the B string. Another strum, and then the 2nd fret of the B string once again, before moving back to our pattern. Okay, so we're going to repeat this for the first verse. It's going to sound exactly the same way. Oh, it was a fine and a pleasant day. Before moving on to the next part, which will sound like this. Okay, so that was an A major chord once again, picking the same way we did in the intro. But then my third finger is going to play the 4th fret of the E string. I pluck the E string with the thumb, skip the A string, go right to the D, similar to what we did in the intro. Then I'm going to do the same thing, but my thumb's going to wrap around the 2nd fret of the E string, my F sharp note. So far we have A, G sharp, F sharp. Out of Yarmouth Harbor I was, and then E major chord, faring. All right, and we're just gonna hit that E major chord once. Same exact pattern that we have over top of the G sharp and F sharp. E string, D string, G string, B string. Let's hear that part again, nice and slow. In context, oh, it was a fine and a pleasant day. Out of Yarmouth Harbor I was faring. Okay, now we're moving on to part number 3. It's gonna sound like this. Okay, so that was basically the same exact thing, but in the opposite direction. I have my E major chord, plucking E, D, G, B. My thumb wraps to the F sharp. And then my pinky is gonna stretch all the way over to the 4th fret. That's my G sharp note. 4th fret, E string. Would definitely take some practice. Out of Yarmouth Harbor I was faring, G sharp. Okay, moving on to the next part, it will sound like this. Okay, so that was my A major chord. As a cabin, E major chord, boy. A strum of the D major with the thumb. On a sailing lug, a F sharp. So moving into the F sharp, we just have a small little melody there. It's the 4th fret of the D string to the 2nd fret of the D string, and then the open D. On a sailing lug, a F sharp minor chord. Barring everything here on the 2nd fret. My 3rd finger goes to the 4th fret of the A string, pinky just underneath that, 4th fret D string. And we're just gonna kind of pick around the same exact way a couple times before moving into the last section, which will sound like this. For to hunt the bony shoals of herring. Okay, so that last part was just the intro and the first part of the verse repeated. So we have the A major chord again, A, D, G, B, E, D, G, B. For to hunt the bony, right on the E string. Strum of the D chord, shoals of hair, E major chord, and back to the A chord. Okay, so more or less we're going to follow that structure throughout the 3 verses that we have. On the second one, he does a little bit more strumming. And mixes in a little bit of finger picking, especially during these descendant sections. Take your turn and watch with the other fellas. So it's all the same stuff. You can be a little bit liberal with your finger picking. You can feel free to mix in some strumming and some finger picking as you see fit. No reason to play it exactly like Oscar Isaac or the thousands of other people who have covered this as well. The only thing that we want to look at now is toward the ends of these verses, he throws in a very nice descendant major scale line. Okay, so that descendant line comes in at the end of your 3rd verse. It's going to sound like this. We were dreaming of the shoals of herring. One more time. We were dreaming of the shoals of herring. Okay, so all we're doing there is going to the 2nd fret of your G string, that's your A note, 4th fret of the D string, 2nd fret of the D string, open D, 4th fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the A string, E major chord, and then returning back to the root, A major. So we have you notice how I just kind of hit the E string and then strum through with my thumb, and then back to the root. Dreaming of the shoals of herring. Just one more part to look at. This is the coda. It starts off with an A major chord, and the rhythm in this section is very, very loose. He comes out of his 3rd verse, doing his finger picking pattern, before strumming the A major chord. Night and day the seas, throws in a D major chord, daring. Repeats his A chord again, come wind or come or winter, and throws in an E major chord again. Now he starts to get into a little bit more of a swinging rhythm. Sweating or cold, growing up, growing old or dying. Okay, so in that section, he's just playing A major chord, D major chord on cold, A major, growing up, D major, growing old, a quick E major chord, or dying, and we're back to that bar chord, F sharp minor. Okay, finally the last part, we have the A major chord, and here I like to get back into a little bit of my finger picking pattern. As we dream about the shoals, strum of that D major chord, and he does a very lackadaisical version of his walk down. It actually stops kind of halfway, but we can just kind of continue on with what we were doing. Before going to the E major chord, Shoals of Herring. He slowly arpeggiates the A major chord before creating an A triad, kind of sliding up into it. That's the bar on the 5th fret of the B string and high E string, my middle finger here on the 6th fret of the G string. Then finally, a very resolved strum of the A major chord to close up shop. Okay, so that last section, the coda, will sound like this all in all. A major chord, night and day the seas, D major, we're dead, A major in. Come, A major, wind or come, D major, more winter, again, E major chord, A major, sweating or cold, D major, growing A major up, growing D major old, E major or F sharp minor dying. As we dream A major arpeggiating about the shoals. Our nice A major descending line of herring. High triad, strum of the A major, close up shop. Alright everyone, thanks so much for checking out this lesson on Shoals of Herring, and I appreciate your patience as I put it together. I got plenty more lessons coming up, so keep checking back and please subscribe. I'm Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia saying happy picking.